Hello, podheads, and welcome to another episode of Over My Dead Pod. This is your host for today, Kate Carter.
This is Kylie Colwell.
Holly Lamoureux is with us. She's on mute right now, having to take a work phone call. So she's here. She's here in spirit. She will be joining us in just a few minutes. But for right now, good old Kate and Kylie got you. I don't know if you were expecting this, Kylie, but you know I love a good holiday special.
What holiday? Oh, Mother's Day.
Yeah.
God, this could go either which way. Okay.
Well, by the time this airs, Mother's Day would have been the day prior. But you know, I love my holiday specials. And so for that, I say Happy Mother's Day to everyone. Here are two stories, both which occurred on Mother's Day. Our first case for today takes us up to West Hills, California during Mother's Day weekend in May of 2022. And this is when a quiet suburban neighborhood in the western San Fernandino Valley became one of the most horrifying child murder cases LA had seen in years. On May 8th, 2022, three kids, 12-year-old Natalie, 11-year-old Zane, and 8-year-old Sophie, were found brutally murdered inside their home. Their mother, 38-year-old Angela, and her 16-year-old son were later arrested after investigators alleged that the two of them had worked together to kill the three young kids inside the family home. The reason this case became so disturbing to people across the country was not only because of the obvious of three kids being killed by their own mom, but because investigators quickly began uncovering evidence that Angela Flores had been spiraling mentally for months leading up to the killings. Family members later described increasingly bizarre behavior from Angela, things like paranoia, religious thinking, and escalating instability that accumulated into one of the darkest family annihilation cases in recent California history. So let's talk about the Flores family. I don't have a lot to go off of based off just research, but the Flores family lived in a pretty modest house in West Hills. It's a suburban neighborhood of LA. It's known for being like a quiet area, family oriented. It was not by any means associated with like violent crimes. The neighborhood itself was filled with ordinary single family homes, kids riding bikes, schools nearby, families who had lived there for years. To neighbors, the Flores family largely appeared private, but pretty normal family. Like I said, public information about Angela's upbringing, specifically her childhood, remains pretty limited, but I was able to find that investigators and media reports established that she was a mother of four kids. She had always spent her time living in California, in particular Southern California. That's where she was raised, but I couldn't figure out where she was born. In the years leading up to the murders, Angela had reportedly gone through relationship and family difficulties. I saw several things suggesting that relatives had grown increasingly concerned about her mental health for a few years, and multiple family members had actually told reporters later on that Angela's behavior was so erratic and frightening, like towards the end, right before the murders had taken place, which obviously sucks because, nothing was done or could have been done ahead of time to stop the potential, of what did occur. It always kind of pisses me off, and I think it only pisses me off because we do this kind of thing, like we do this podcast, but like when family or friends come in and say, oh, yeah, Kylie was acting weird for years. She was erratic. She was schizophrenia. And then Kylie goes and kills her whole family. You're like, okay, well, you said she was acting crazy for a few years. Like, don't you think maybe something could have been avoided?
Something could have been done, perhaps.
If one of you guys goes nutso for a little while, I will intervene.
We would do the same.
So, according to the Flores family, Angela had recently become deeply immersed in religious ideas and thoughts about the apocalypse, which red flags to me. Family members reported noticing her speaking increasingly about demons, evil spirits, spiritual warfare, which, like, red flags, not normal. If you see someone that just flips a switch one day and starts talking like this, they need to get help. I saw there were some reports that said she believed dark forces were, quote, targeting her family or possessing her children. Other family members later stated that Angela had become this way, paranoid and disconnected, in the months leading up to the murders in particular. One thing that's important to understand about this case is that the investigators and family members consistently described this gradual decline rather than one sudden breakdown, which is what we see in a lot of cases. There wasn't like a single day where Angela just like snapped without warning. Instead, the picture that was painted afterwards was of someone whose mental state appeared to just steadily deteriorate over time. At some point before the murders, which I'm not exactly sure when, but Angela allegedly began involving her 16-year-old son in her beliefs as well. Authorities later alleged that the teenager became influenced by his mom's thinkings, and that's what caused for him to eventually participate in assisting his mom with the murder of his younger siblings. That specific aspect of the case would then later become one of the most controversial and heartbreaking parts of the entire investigation. The exact timeline of the murders was pieced together through interviews, evidence inside the home, and statements that were made after the arrests. But according to the investigators and police, the killings happened sometime during the night of May 7th, 2022, and into the early mornings of May 8th. Inside the Flores home that night were Angela, her 16-year-old son, and her three younger kids. Investigators later alleged that Angela and her son started targeting the younger kids one by one inside the home. The children were reportedly restrained and killed using cords and other methods of asphyxiation. The police described the crime scene as obviously very disturbing. And one of the worst parts of this case, too, was the realization that these murders likely did not happen instantly or quietly. Investigators believe that the children were attacked individually in different rooms of the house due to how or where their bodies were found, meaning there were moments where at least some of the kids may have realized that something terrible was happening, but didn't have a way to escape, which is obviously kind of horrific to think about. Police reports also indicated that the children suffered extensive injuries during the attack. Not only was there evidence showing that the killings revolved restraint, but there was evidence suggesting that there had been struggles by the kids trying to fight back as well, which is really sad. The brutality required to manually kill three kids inside a family home forced the detectives to confront the terrifying reality that it likely took a period of time for these murders to be carried out as well. Like, you can't do that quickly. This wasn't really a split second act of violence. It definitely involved like coordination between both Angela and her teenage son. In the days leading up to the killings, people close to Angela reportedly noticed disturbing behavior and behavioral changes. Angela's ex husband, a man named Jacob Corona, told the LA Times that Angela had called him the Tuesday before the murders, saying strange things about God and death. He said she, quote, didn't sound right, and that she had not been considered to be religious beforehand. And honestly, I think that's like a big detail because while Angela was calling her ex saying weird shit, her neighbors also reported that they were seeing Angela outside of her house more and more because she had began pacing in the front yard almost as if she was talking to herself. Side note, when Angela was found later on after the murders, the police found her clutching a Bible in her hands, which I find to be interesting. So the night before Mother's Day, Angela was reportedly taken to a local hospital around midnight. Neighbors had apparently called the police on Angela because she was outside of her house at midnight screaming, holding candles and a Bible, acting erratically. One neighbor said Angela was shouting things like, quote, my family is using me. Paramedics actually had to strap her down on a stretcher while escorting her to the hospital for a mental health check because she was trying to fight them. But get this shit. While all of this was going on, neither the LA Police Department nor the LA Fire Department, like nobody in charge, entered the Flores home to even see if her kids were okay. They were like totally content with the fact her 16-year-old son was in the house taking care of the younger kids while their mother was forcibly removed from the property and taken to the hospital.
I was about to say, okay, maybe they didn't know she had kids, but they know she has kids. Also,
Yes,
16-year-old is not an adult.
right. It doesn't make any sense. So Angela goes to the hospital, has a mental health check, and then I guess is like released because 8 hours after Angela returned to her home, that's when the police found her children's bodies murdered in their bedrooms. Sunday, May 8th, 2022, Mother's Day, Police received a phone call around 7:40 a.m. to the report of an assault with a deadly weapon to the Flores home. The police had been called to the house of neighbors because the neighbors had reported hearing screaming and, quote, disturbing behavior coming from the Flores house. According to some of the reports, one of the key moments was when Angela Flores' 16-year-old son ran to a neighbor's house asking for help, but then ended up leaving the property in a car with his mom once they called the police. So I don't really know what he was doing, but when officers arrived to the scene of the Flores home, they entered through the front door and immediately found the three children unresponsive. Paramedics were called to the scene, but unfortunately, all three kids were pronounced dead there. Those three kids were later identified as Natalie, Zane, and Sophie. As for Angela and her teenage son, they are obviously nowhere to be found. News of the murder spread rapidly across LA throughout the day. The timing of the murders during Mother Day weekend led the media to quickly label this crime as the Mother Day Massacre. Later that same day, a manhunt was underway. Angela Flores and her son were found about 30 miles away in Tulare County, California, after investigators had tracked their car. When approached, Angela was seen holding a Bible in her hands. She immediately admitted to killing her kids with the help of her 16-year-old son, and both were taken into custody. Because Angela had confessed, she was booked on suspicion of murder and held on a $6 million bail. The teenage boy was also arrested but held at a juvenile detention center without bail. According to investigative reports surrounding the investigation, Angela allegedly spoke openly with police about the killings after she was arrested. It was almost like eerie how calm she was about the situation as a whole. And that was something that quickly got pointed out too, because media coverage following the murders repeatedly described this big disconnect between how horrible the crime was, and then the apparent lack of emotional breakdown from the mom afterwards. On May 10th, 2022, 2 days after the killings, prosecutors charged Angela Flores with 3 counts of murder. Angela's son was eventually charged as well in juvenile court, but with only one murder. I'm not really sure why or what's going on with that, but because he was a minor at the time, identity was never released publicly. During his first court appearance, he denied the allegations completely. But for Angela, she began telling a story to the investigators that her children had apparently been possessed by demons, and she was trying to do her best to drive the demons out. According to autopsy reports, it hadn't been apparent at first, but like I said before, the children had died from asphyxiation, but that wasn't the only harm that had been done to their bodies. When their bodies were flipped over at the crime scene, multiple stab wounds were found on each of them. So apparently Angela or her son had stabbed the kids before then strangling them to death. When you look up Angela Flores these days, the public record gives 3 basic facts. 3 kids are dead, their mother is charged, teenage son is also accused, and disturbing behavior was reported but not investigated beforehand. So there's that question of like why. These are all questions about Angela's mental state. What happened inside the house? What did the 16-year-old son do? Could earlier intervention have helped for any reason, like change the outcome? And then also, like, why were the children not checked on when Angela went to the hospital the night before the murders? Honestly, I didn't even think this till just now. The kids could have already been dead.
They might have been.
You know, she was outside acting all crazy and shit like that, saying everybody's possessed, and then no one went and checked in on the kids. I just don't understand that.
What and who do they think the 16-year-old murdered and
We
how?
all we know is that he was part of like he helped his mom. That's something that's a little off too, because we know that he helped his mom because she said that. He's always denied the allegations, and then I guess has he got charged for one murder. So I don't know if they found out stuff later on, but like there's not a lot of details on him because he's underage, but he did get charged in court for it. And I also feel like if he didn't help, he probably also would have been killed.
Yeah,
Like, why was he the chosen one?
because he's the oldest, right?
Right.
Maybe she honestly couldn't take him down.
Probably not. I feel like if he did help, he probably restrained the kids.
Maybe.
You know? I don't know. I don't know. As a mom, no idea how you could do this, but Anyways, as for the court processes, Angela's arraignment has been delayed multiple times. On a news site, I was able to find out that her initial arraignment was postponed till after her first court appearance in May of 2022, but then it kept getting pushed back, like 2024, 2025. There have been more than 2 dozen proceedings appearing on the court docket, which is like crazy. And to this day, in May 2026, Angela is still being processed through the court system. She still hasn't had a trial. Overall, forensic psychologists pointed to the possibility of a psychosis driven altruistic filicide, which basically means a phenomenon in which it's like a mental ill parent believes that if they kill their children, they're actually protecting them or helping them. And it's usually from like an evil source or something like that. But again, nothing about that lessens the horror of what really happened. Investigators and experts examining the case increasingly believe that Angela Flores may have been experiencing severe delusions, which then made her kill her kids. In criminal court, competency does not determine whether someone commits the crime. Instead, the evaluations determine whether the defendant understands the legal process and can assist in their own defense. And so for Angela's court records show that she underwent these psychiatric evaluations, but then they never publicly released what they found. So that's I'm curious as if to that's why it's taking years on years for her to get a trial because she probably did have a mental break and went through something and but maybe it was only for like that period of time, so if they're doing psychiatric evaluations and she was only having a mental break for a certain period and let's say she's out of it now, does she still go through the same process?
I know obviously like when you're pleading insanity, you go through thorough psychiatric evaluation, but then the other side of that is the competency. So
Right.
you can had a psychiatric break during the commission of the crime, technically be found not guilty by reason of insanity, but still be competent to stand trial. So
Right.
if she's been
But I think
found,
that's a tricky line.
it is because it's only the psychotic break is like during the commission of the crime. So she might, I don't know, I guess I would assume it hasn't been found competent to stand trial and then
Yet.
it's probably still undergoing psychiatric work.
Yeah. Well, like I was thinking about when you were saying that, I was thinking about that horse show we watched, the Horse Girl show, the
Mhm.
documentary, which we told everyone not to watch. But in it, the guy who he shot a woman and then he got off on the crime because they found him he was competent, but he went through a psychiatric evaluation and they said that he should go to a mental hospital. So he went to a mental hospital for a year, left it, and is totally like a normal person.
Misconception is like not guilty by reason of insanity doesn't mean like they're let go. It's like, no, you have to go to the mental hospital until the mental hospital determines
Right.
you're good to go.
And let me just say, 1 year never happens.
No, it can be years and years.
Life. Yeah. In fact, it usually is. Okay, so anyways, the murder of the three Flores children obviously devastated their surviving relatives. Family members publicly mourned Natalie, Zane, and Sophia in the days following their murders. Vigils were held in memory of the kids, and community members came together and left flowers, balloons, candles, stuffed animals, little writings all outside of the Flores home, like we see that happens a lot. So, one of the most debated issues in this case, though, was the role of their surviving teenage son. Some members of the public believed that he should be viewed primarily as another victim because of his age and the influence that his mom probably had over him. But others argued that the participation in the killings required some type of accountability, regardless of like manipulation, and that 16 was old enough. So that debate ended up becoming like one of the defining ethical questions surrounding this case. I personally, well, I was going to say I personally think 16 is old enough in this manner to know if you should be killing your three siblings that are younger than you. But there, I wonder if there may be mental health that had rubbed off on him as well, like issues. We don't know anything about it, so we don't really know what part he played. I feel like we would have to know a lot more before we made any kind of decision on that. So, as the legal proceedings continued through 2022 and beyond, many court records involving the teenager remained sealed because he's a minor. The aftermath of the case continues today through ongoing legal proceedings, psychiatric evaluations, and the lasting trauma experienced by the surviving relatives and friends. But at the center of the story remains Natalie, Zane, and Sophia Flores, three children whose lives ended inside the place that they should have been the safest in. And that is the case of Angela Flores and the California Mother's Day Massacre. So I'm just going to jump right into my second case.
Yay, I'm gonna get to hear the second one.
All right,
Love
so
it.
this second case takes us to Shannon, Mississippi, a small community in Lee County, and we're on Mother's Day of 2017, which turned into a nightmare for the Gladney family. Gladney, Gladney. On Sunday, May 14th, 2017, 66-year-old Molly Gladney was found brutally murdered at her home on County Road 54. Her body was discovered in the carport area outside of her house, but investigators quickly realized that the violence had actually started inside. This was not a clean crime scene, and this was not a quick attack. Lee County Sheriff Jim Johnson later said Molly had been savagely attacked both inside and outside of her own home. And the man accused of killing her, Antonio Gladney, Molly's son. So at the time, Antonio was 35 years old and had already been stacking up a criminal history. He had been in trouble for most of his adult life. Long before his mother's murder, he had a criminal record for things like armed robbery, fleeing law enforcement, parole violations, and repeated run ins with the police. According to the Lee County Sheriff's Office, Antonio had spent years cycling through the criminal justice system. He had been arrested many times, incarcerated many times, released many times, and each release, it seems to end with more instability and more violence. So he's kind of one of those people that if you look him up and his background, the more he gets arrested, the worse that he got, basically. So he's kind of like one of those prime examples of like maybe he shouldn't be released. Maybe we shouldn't be giving him good graces. I'm all for like letting someone have a second or third chance, but it gets to a point where if your crimes get worse and worse each time, like maybe we don't do that, you know?
Needs further intervention.
Yeah. Yeah. So, people who knew the Gladney family later described Antonio as someone who had only brought constant stress into Molly's life. Public records showed that he had struggled for years with his criminal behavior, instability, and people believed that abuse problems as well. By 2017, the relationship between Antonio and his mother had reportedly become strained and distant. Multiple reports described the two as being estranged before her murder. The exact details of their falling out were never like released publicly, but investigators and relatives made it pretty clear that they were not a close knit or not a healthy like mother son relationship by any means, which makes it even more sad that when Antonio had showed up to his mother's doorstep on the night of Mother's Day, he had brought gifts for her. And so she let him inside. So, that being said, investigators believed that he used the holiday itself as a weapon. Inside Molly's living room, deputies found a Mother's Day card from Antonio and a bouquet of flowers sitting on the table. And this was the same room where it seems like most of the violence had taken place. Sheriff Johnson said investigators suspected those gifts were Antonio's way of gaining a piece of trust from his mom. He was estranged from Molly on Mother's Day. Like he came to her door, he had flowers and a card, so she let him in. Investigators believe the attack happened sometime between 10 p.m. on Saturday night and 6 a.m. on Sunday morning. That means while most people were asleep and while families were preparing for Mother's Day, Molly was inside of her home with the son that she allowed to walk through her door. At some point afterwards, we don't know exactly when, Antonio entered and a fight broke out. Police say the violence had obviously moved throughout the home and eventually ended outside. Reports indicated that furniture had been thrown throughout the house, and blood evidence was reportedly found in multiple rooms and on the walls. Molly had been beaten with garden tools and other items, and the attack was described as savage. Sheriff Johnson later stated that Molly had clearly fought for her life, but just simply wasn't strong enough against her own child. She also hadn't just been struck once or twice or like shot with a gun or something, like from far away, but Molly had repeated blows and stab wounds to her body. This had been a prolonged personal attack on a 66-year-old. One of the details that spread quickly through the media coverage was the severity of Molly's injuries. Early rumors online claimed that she had also been decapitated, but officials reporting later on focused more broadly on like the extreme blunt force trauma that Molly had and the mutilation involved in the attack rather than confirming, some of the graphic internet claims. So we don't really know if she was decapitated, but if you look at like Reddit, it says that she was. But what investigators did confirm was that the injuries were so severe that they were enough to shock even some of the most experienced officers that saw the scene. Molly was attacked sometime during the night or early morning, but relatives were the ones that actually became concerned about Molly because they were supposed to see her on Mother's Day and they hadn't heard from her. And so eventually someone went to go check in on the house. They lived in the same town, so they just drove over. And that's when a family member and Molly's neighbors found her body outside in the carport. After the murder, Antonio fled, but later that same evening, while investigators were still processing the scene, Antonio actually returned to the house and spoke with officers. Now, let me just say this, criminals, if you're listening, do not return. I say, do not return to the crime scene. I don't know what it is with you guys returning to see like what you just did, but dear God, don't go back or do. It's good for us.
Yeah, keep doing it.
Screw everything I just said. Go back. Every single one of you listening, go back to your crime scene. Ask the police officers what's going on. And in Antonio's case, bring a gun with you because a convicted felon not allowed to have a gun. And so Antonio was arrested at the scene on a firearm charge. By the next day, the more interviews that the police had with him, and as officers were able to collect evidence from the scene, Antonio ended up being immediately charged with killing his mom. 4 days after Molly's death, Antonio had his first appearance in the Lee County Justice Court, where he openly admitted for the first time that he did, in fact, kill his mom. He said that he was ready to, quote, man up, and claimed that he had not been in his right mind that night and that he had, quote, been under the influence of something. Excuses, excuses. Antonio also said that once he came down from whatever he had taken, he was hurt and he finally accepted mentally what he had done. His words weren't really a denial, but they were definitely admission. When the violence just didn't stop with Molly's murder, because while Antonio was sitting in the Lee County Jail awaiting his trial, he decided to attack detention officers. So on June 29th, investigators said he made a homemade knife, threatened to stab officers, lunged at them, cut one of the officers, and then kicked and headbutted others as they tried to subdue him. Which, like, that's a big fight. I don't know what you're trying to pull off, but you're in jail, dude.
It never turns out well when you do that.
Oh, you think you're just gonna get out and be cool, and they're gonna be like, "Yeah, you know what? He beat us.
He
He
won fair
wins."
and square.
Yep, you win. So obviously, that jail attack led to an aggravated assault charge, and it showed prosecutors that Antonio's violence was not just limited to the night that his mom had died. In November of 2019, Antonio Gladney pleaded guilty to murder. He was then sentenced to life in prison for killing his mom, Molly. He also pleaded guilty to the aggravated assault for the jail attack and received an additional on top of his life sentence of 25 years. He received an additional 25 years on top of his life sentence. I know that headbutting, kicking, and trying to, stab someone is not like a good thing. But I feel like 25 years is pretty rough. Like, that's a long time. I feel like they would have normally been like, yeah, let's just add 10 years on top of that or something. I don't know. I think I was taken away by the 25 years. He's in life in prison forever, so it doesn't matter. But
I think they're just so pissed at him.
right, and they were like, "You're an idiot." You know what? He did have a rap sheet though.
Quite the rap sheet.
Quite the rap sheet. Anyway, so the timeline was this. Antonio, already convicted felon, estranged from his mom, went to his mother's house, Molly, on Mother's Day weekend with flowers and a card. Investigators believe that Molly let him in because, he was her son and because the gifts made it look like an act of love. But sometime between late Saturday night and early Sunday morning, the visit turned violent. Antonio never fully discussed what happened inside of his mom's home, so we don't really know the exact details, but we do know that Molly was beaten with garden tools and other objects. The attack moved from inside the house to outside, and her body was eventually found by neighbors and a family member in her carport. Antonio at some point fled the scene, but returned later that evening, was arrested, confessed in court later on, attacked jail officers while waiting for trial, and then ultimately pleaded guilty to everything. Sheriff Johnson, the one I talked about before, he was very open and publicly criticized the prison system after the murder, arguing that Antonio had repeatedly demonstrated violent and criminal behavior over the years. And according to the sheriff, Antonio should not have been back out on the streets in 2017. So this obviously became a major talking point after Molly's murder because people began saying like Molly Gladney might still be alive if the correction system had done what they should have done and not released Antonio. People in Shannon, Mississippi still remember where they were when they heard about Molly Gladney's murder. They remember pictures and videos of police cars outside of Molly's home. They remember seeing the headlines about a man killing his own mom on Mother's Day. They remember the details about the flowers card. It's just stuff like that that kind of stick in people's heads. Molly was just a woman who opened the front door to her son, holding flowers and expecting kindness, but instead, according to investigators, Molly spent her final hours fighting for her life against her own child inside of the home where she had been the safest. And that is the story of Antonio Gladney and the murder of his mom, Molly Gladney. Happy Mother's Day.
That one, I'm going to blame all the judges that let that man out of prison.
Like, it gets to a point where you're like, come on, fam. Like, we knew better on whatever the last charge he had. You know, like, whatever the last charge was, he should not have been released.
No, that was final straw.
Final straw.
Obviously, like, we would want rehabilitation. Some people cannot be rehabilitated.
Antonio was one of those people that could not be rehabilitated. Angela Flores needed medical treatment. She needed help, and people did not help her.
Yeah, and she could have possibly not entered psychosis ever again.
Right. Anyways, hope you guys all had a good Mother's Day. Earlier, Kylie texted us a prompt for overtime today, which I love because it like gets the juices flowing, but that's not the correct terminology. But it makes me think a little bit about fun stuff. And so Kylie had a really good one today. Kylie, I'll let you take it away.
Things that we think people are lying about liking because we just find it so repulsive or we just don't get it.
I came up with such a long list that I actually had to stop myself from thinking about more things. I think you all are liars. I think everybody's a dirty, dirty liar about things that they enjoy and they don't actually enjoy it. And you know what? I'm going to piss some people off with my list. I'm not going to lie.
Oh, I am too. And I already know some of you like some of the things on my list.
Are you talking about us?
Yep, you too.
Yep. There's one on here that I'm like, Holly's really going to hate me for this.
Start them off, Kate.
If you tell me that you like to wake up naturally early, you're lying.
Yep.
If you say that you enjoy naturally waking up at 5 a.m., it ain't true. It's not true.
There's nothing you need to be doing at that hour.
Second one, IPA beers.
Agree.
Sour beers.
Yeah.
Why? This goes on the same line. You guys are going to see I have a lot of these are kind of similar. Black coffee. I don't get it. People who say they enjoy black coffee.
I do.
It's not true, Holly.
I do too.
It's not true, Kylie.
Hear
you guys
me
are
out.
liars.
Okay, I have drank black coffee since I was a little kid. For some reason, my grandparents let us kids drink black coffee, which is very strange. So I actually maybe slightly agree with you. Like, it's an acquired taste. And then if it's acquired, is it even really you liking it or you just have become used to it? But now I like it. You know what I'm saying?
No, I don't.
It's the lawyer in me, Kate. I'm trying to get around.
All right. This one goes out to all my gym girls who are listening, because I know you guys are listening. Running for fun.
That was one of mine.
Mine as well.
Horse shit. Not true.
You just want attention.
You just, I'm not going to say that.
Well,
Holly said that.
Marathons was on my list, and you just want attention.
You would never see me in running shoes.
I'm only running if it's for my life.
Okay, this next one, I don't know if you guys enjoy this, but people who eat raw oysters.
Kylie does.
Yeah, Kylie eats about 4 dozen a week.
Kylie, they're not yummy. That's not enjoyable.
Do you think it's acquired?
No, because I
Like your
like them.
first oyster, did you like it?
Yeah. And I was like, this is for me. And on everyone I know, I mean, other than like my dad and my grandpa hates them, but like that's fine. More for me.
Kylie, do you chew them or do you just swallow?
Sometimes I swallow some. Sometimes I like to put them on a little cracker with some like horseradish and Tabasco.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. All right, next one for me is dark chocolate. Mom, I know you're listening to this. Dark chocolate. It's not chocolate.
Yeah, it's a lie. They don't like
It's
it.
not chocolate. I know, Kylie. You're saying that oh, but it's dark chocolate, so it's healthy for you. It's not chocolate. We don't consider you in the white chocolate is more chocolate than dark chocolate
Okay, counterpoint on my list, white chocolate. I think it tastes like fucking chalk.
because it's not actually chocolate, but I would eat white chocolate
What is
all day
it?
over dark. It doesn't have any cocoa in it, so no cocoa beans. So I don't really know what white chocolate. What is white chocolate made out of? Let's see.
That changes everything
Oh,
for
so
me.
it's not made from cocoa bean, it's made from cocoa butter, sugar, and milk solids. But there's no actual chocolate in it, like the cocoa bean part.
It
So
just
it's
got like
not
a cocoa
considered chocolate.
flavor.
Yeah. That's so funny. I would eat white chocolate over dark any day. Okay, next one on my list. We're halfway through right now. Kale chips.
You're
Why?
really firing shots at me this whole time.
You know what? What I did is I just listed things that Kylie likes.
Other than the running, yeah.
Why would you eat kale chips? Go get barbecue. It's not that big of a deal. It's not going to help your health plan.
Okay, I make my own. I like dehydrate them and I season the hell out of them.
When did you become a hippie?
I'm not, I like the crunch.
Yeah, when do you
All
start
right.
dehydrating things?
Right.
I've been dehydrating kale chips since middle school.
She's been dehydrating herself. She
Dang,
doesn't drink water. No, that's you, Holly. Never mind.
that's me.
Okay, well, Kylie, do you like kombucha? Because that's next on my list.
Yep.
No, you don't. It is Oh my God, Kylie, no one likes kombucha.
JT's or GT's ginger ale. Several bottles a week. Good for the tummy.
This is ridiculous.
Wait,
Okay,
what?
if you go to sound baths, you
Oh
don't
yeah,
actually enjoy them.
that's
No,
stupid.
you're just bored.
You're just bored. You probably are really into star signs, which is fine, maybe, but like sound baths aren't real. It's not messing with your
I don't
chakra.
think. I don't know. Maybe
Uh-oh.
frequencies. Come on, hold on.
Who's the
It's
hippie now?
it's glass containers that are making noises.
I get it. I hear ya. I know it sounds
Okay.
strange, but do you believe in like the frequencies? Like like frequencies can like do different things in your body?
I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know.
I don't think so.
Guys, I'm always trying to play devil's advocate here.
New things. Okay, this one might be a little controversial, but no one likes going out on New Year's Eve.
I second that.
Like I
Yeah.
just don't think that's actually like I don't think that's a thing to look forward to. Soap bars. Bars of soap. Why are you not using body wash?
So
Yeah.
I had that on my list too, and I think it's disgusting. Like
I think it's so
hygienically.
gross. Like so gross.
I do I there is a soap that I think is good on my face that I use in a bar.
Do you sanitize it?
I only use it on my face.
So is it you just leave a wet soapy bar in the shower?
I don't anymore, but yeah, I did. Well, no, I would put it in a place where it didn't get water on it in the shower. You know what I'm saying?
Did you have a lot of acne back then when you used it?
No, actually, it was really good for my acne.
You had said yes.
Yeah, I did actually. Yeah, no.
Yeah, yeah. Now that you come to think about it. Okay. QR code menus.
I don't think anyone likes those actually.
Hate them. If I show up to a restaurant and they're like, "Oh, scan this QR code," I'm like, "My phone is on 10%. Please don't make me. Give me paper."
Also, I already researched the menu before I left the house.
Yeah,
Yeah,
actually, I don't
same.
need shit. I know what I'm eating. I know what they're eating. I'll order for everyone. Okay, two more. Shopping for swimsuits, and then I'm also going to put in this trying on anything in TJ Maxx.
Oh, I refuse to try on clothes if it's under
Yeah.
$50.
Okay,
Hmm.
I have my last final one. Holly, I'm really sorry. Roy, I'm an anti-bubbles person, but LaCroix specifically, you're just eating liquid like suntan lotion.
Eating liquid like suntan lotion. What does that mean?
Suntan lotion is like liquid. It tastes like it. Okay, the taste of it smells like sunscreen. When you're drinking LaCroix, the taste is what I smell when I smell sunscreen.
Have you ever tried one?
Sunscreen or LaCroix?
LaCroix.
Yes to both.
Okay. We can talk about that later, but I mean, are you talking about just the unflavored water or like the
Couldn't tell
just the
you.
sparkling
Any
water?
LaCroix in general, I think is gross. And I
Oh,
don't think
you've
people
lost me
actually
there,
like it.
babe.
I think it's a fad.
No, I want to drink more water
It's not
and
water.
it is. It's sparkling water. It's carbonated water with flavor.
It's not the same thing. I'm
Okay,
done.
I got one. I think that people are lying if they say that they enjoy being pregnant.
Oh, shots fired.
Oh, okay, Holly.
What do you
Um,
enjoy about it?
just not the first 20 weeks. Other than that, it's like a fun little, like, it's like your own personal little alien inside of your body.
Yeah,
Yeah.
see, you good? Yeah. You lost me. That wasn't on my list, but I got so many shots fired at me. I was like, let me hit close to home.
So,
But
um,
actually, after I came up with it, I was like, yeah, you know what? That's so right.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Kate loves it so much, but every time you're pregnant, every other day we're getting a text. Yeah, I fainted in TJ Maxx. Yeah, I'm
We
in the
suffer.
hospital.
We
Oh my
suffer.
God, yeah, that was a yeah, I did faint at TJ Maxx. Look, it's not for the weak. Let me just say that. You wake up
See, she
every
loves
day
to say
wishing
that.
you wake up every day wishing that the day was over, but yet I have pregnancy amnesia and I want to be pregnant again.
See, you just want to be able to say those things that it's not for the weak.
Yeah, you're weak, Holly.
Uh,
I continue on.
well, running was one of the ones that I had on there, specifically marathons. Like, you can't like to make yourself that miserable. If you do, I do think you might have something else that you need to work through.
Aperol spritz.
Dude, thought
Ew,
about that.
yeah.
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 I kept seeing TikToks about, girls in Italy drinking a little Aperol spritz. And I was like, oh, that seems like a fruity, fun little cocktail. I got one
No.
night. Did not taste how I expected.
No, it's not good.
Hmm.
It's not good. You got to get it with tequila.
Ooh,
On the
this
note of that, Negrolis.
Negronis.
Negronis.
Sorry, Holly, but Golden Goose sneakers.
It's okay. I get it. I actually do get it.
Okay, okay.
Wait, I
And
don't
I
even know
might
what that
kind of
is.
agree a little bit. Like, I don't know that I don't know if I agree, but I get it.
Hold on, I gotta look them up.
Oh
Oh,
gosh, great. Here she goes.
oh. You know what? These look like knockoff Converse that I would buy for my infant daughter.
She also hates.
Holly, do you have these?
Yeah, I do. I have a couple.
How many? How
They're
many?
big. They're big here. Okay.
They have a star on the side of them, like glitter stars.
So yeah. I don't know, man. This is just turning south.
Okay, okay.
I'm just
Something
trying to
I
fit in. Okay.
something I don't think either of you have. Labubu's.
Okay. Thank you, Kylie. Thank
You
you.
know what?
That's a
You're
great
right.
one.
Yeah, that is a good one.
Okay, I'll do one more. Also, won't apply to any of you. People that are really into snakes and reptiles, I think you just want to be weird. Those things do not love you back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think yeah, like
Yeah.
alligators, snakes,
Mm-hmm.
insects
Mm-hmm.
of some sort. If you're like, I'm cool with insects, are you?
If you got
Mm-hmm.
a pet spider in a tank, stay the hell away from me. Okay. All right,
Yeah.
I'm done.
Yeah.
The last one that I had that I just remembered, escape rooms. You're lying. You
I
want to
love
do
an
that?
escape room. I love
That's
it.
fun for you. You like it?
Me and
Yeah.
Kate set a record for the escape room we did.
And Cam, wasn't Cam with us?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, the three of us in escape room, we're champions.
For
it
what?
was like
For
a
what? The
state record.
anxiety, the for what?
We love a puzzle.
We do.
Oh, okay. Maybe I can. I've never done one, so
I think you'd like it.
Holly, you don't even know what you're talking about. If actually, Holly,
they
I
don't
will say, I
sound.
think it would give you major anxiety.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Like being locked in a room, having to solve a puzzle, being under a time constraint. Like that cannot be fun. Actually,
Kylie and I used
I've
to
got to
do
go
these.
just thinking about it. I'm getting chills.
Kylie, Kylie and I used to do these murder mystery boxes.
Oh, I still know them.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you like that's not a physical thing, you know?
Could be if you want it to be.
Man, this could
Okay.
be a part 2.
It's a very long overtime.
Yeah.
My list was like 20 items. All right. So with that, thank you for tuning in to another episode of Over My Dead Pod. If you want even more information about the case, you can check us out on our social medias or on our website at overmydeadpod.com, over our dead bodies. Thank you for tuning in. We'll talk to you guys next week. Happy late Mother's Day. Try not to get killed. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.